Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Trekker here, and today we're going to talk about faster than light travel in our comparison of a Constitution-class starship and an Imperial Star Destroyer. But first, I do want to give a quick reminder that tomorrow is Thanksgiving here in the United States. And yes, I will be putting out a video tomorrow on Thanksgiving, and I will be doing a live stream tomorrow evening with Mrs. Anti-Trekker. And the reason that I'm making sure that everybody is fully aware of that fact is that during each, I will be giving away a custom-made Dr. Doom mask, such as the one pictured here. The mask itself is scaled to be life-size to the good doctor, and the stand will come with it. I haven't painted the stand yet, so I'm not sure what it's going to look like when it's all done, but here's the general idea. I will be giving away one such mask during my video release tomorrow, and the second will be given away during the live stream. I will announce the winner from the first one probably on... well, I'm thinking probably the beginning of next week to give people a chance to enter into that one. That one will be a drawing. And the one on the live stream will be chosen and announced during that live stream. So let's get into Hyperdrive versus Warp Drive. Now, this is a contentious one, and one that many Star Trek fans don't like to deal with, because the simple fact is, Hyperdrive is much faster than Warp Drive. However, like many things in the debate of Star Wars versus Star Trek tends to have easier to understand and clearer numbers to work with as far as figuring out how their systems work and what they are capable of. So let's talk about Warp Drive first because, well, frankly, we have better data on Warp Drive. How fast is Warp Drive? Well, to be honest, pretty darn fast. Now, keep in mind that we are talking about the original series warp scale, not the, in my humble opinion, kind of screwed up next generation warp scale in which they say warp 10 is infinity speed or something like that, even though they break that rule. But anyway, I'm sorry, the next generation warp scale doesn't work for me. However, the simple original series scale makes perfect sense, and I don't know why they didn't just keep it around. It is actually very easy to understand. The speed of the ship is quite simply the speed of light times the warp factor cubed. So, warp 1 is the speed of light times 1 cubed. Well, 1 cubed, or 1 times 1 times 1, is 1. So, speed of light times 1, which means warp 1 is just the speed of light. Warp 2 is the speed of light times 2 cubed. So, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. The speed of light times 8, or 8 times the speed of light. Warp 3 is 27 times the speed of light, etc. The fastest speed that a Constitution-class ship is rated to safely maintain indefinitely is warp factor 6, which is 216 times the speed of light. The official maximum speed of a Constitution-class ship is rated at a warp factor 8, which is 512 times the speed of light. And the fastest that we've ever seen the original series Constitution-class starship go without assistance from alien influence. Keep in mind, yes, we've seen it with various modifications from different aliens go much faster than this, but the fastest we've seen it go under its own normal power is warp factor 9, or 729 times the speed of light. So, unfortunately, like with a lot of things that we've talked about in this discussion, Star Wars does not really attempt to explain itself from a scientific perspective. Good hard information is relatively scarce as to exactly how fast hyperdrives are. We know that at least according to its two prior owners, the Millennium Falcon is the fastest ship in the galaxy at the time of the original trilogy. And at the very least, it's capable of outrunning Imperial Star Destroyers. But we don't know exactly how fast that is. In the first Star Wars film, or as millennials like to call it, A New Hope, Han says,
"What a piece of junk."
She'll make 0.5 past light speed. She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid. I've made a lot of special modifications myself.
0.5 beyond light speed. To which I've heard several interesting explanations to exactly what that's supposed to mean, but none of them really make much sense. So, for example, one explanation is that Han is referring to the class of hyperdrive engine in the Falcon. He means that the Falcon has a class 0.5 hyperdrive engine, and that hyperdrive engines have a class rating where the lower the number, the better the class engine. Therefore, a 0.5 class hyperdrive engine is much faster than a class 1 hyperdrive, which in turn is faster than a class 2, etc. And that would make perfect sense if Han had said that he had a 0.5 class hyperdrive engine.
She'll make 0.5 past light speed.
But that's not what he said. He said the ship was capable of travel at 0.5 beyond light speed. If I was bragging to you that my car, I said, could go 0.5 beyond the speed limit, while you may ask me to clarify, you would probably not think that I was giving you a number that rated the horsepower of my engine. Rather, I would be referencing the actual speed of the car. If the speed limit was 100 miles per hour, or 100 kilometers per hour for all you people outside of the United States, you would probably think that my car was capable of going at 100.5, or if you thought that I was maybe saying 0.5 meaning a percentage, that maybe my car was capable of going 150 or, 50% faster than the speed limit. However, you would certainly not be thinking that I was suggesting my car could go 15,000 miles per hour, or, 15,000 kilometers per hour for all my friends outside of the United States. And, by the way, like many things in Star Wars, we do have an equivalent to hyperdrive in Star Trek, namely transwarp conduits. The Borg are able to traverse half the Milky Way galaxy in mere minutes thanks to transwarp, and the visual evidence looks extremely similar to hyperdrive. You may be thinking that I'm trying to dismiss hyperdrive speed, but no, there's no question at all in my mind that hyperspace travel is much faster than warp drive. Whether it's a factor of tens or hundreds or thousands of times, well, it really would require more information than I have available. But I absolutely believe that hyperdrive is faster. The question becomes, is that speed advantage really all that useful in our combat situation between a Constitution-class starship and an Imperial Star Destroyer? The problem here is not the speed, it's the functionality of the drive systems. In the case of warp drive, it's fairly straightforward and well explained. The ship bends space around it, allowing it to travel any course faster than light, and we've already discussed the actual speeds faster than light it can travel. We've also seen in various examples that the ship is fully capable of engaging in combat while at warp. Hyperdrive systems seem to require navigation of specific corridors that appear to be naturally occurring wormholes, allowing the ships to enter and exit said corridors at various points. So while a Constitution-class starship can make a straight course for wherever it wants to go, a Star Destroyer must calculate what hyperspace corridor it will take to get to the desired destination, or if multiple jumps are required, what is the most efficient route.
Take a few moments to get the coordinates from the navigation computer.
You kidding? The rate they're gaining?
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dust and crops, boy. Without precise calculations, we'd fly right through a star or bounce too close to a supernova and then it'd end your trip real quick, wouldn't you?
Now, you would think that this is likely not really going to be much of a factor. However, when we get into the video on tactics, how hyperspace definitively works will be vitally important. Sure, this is not a race around the galaxy. If it were, the Star Destroyer would clearly win. However, There seems to be some conflicting information in Star Wars that must be resolved in order to have a conclusive determination on what these two ships can do to each other in combat. The primary problem becomes that if hyperdrive requires a specific conduit to travel through, in which most Star Wars fans actually agree that that is how hyperspace works, well then, for so-called micro hyperspace jumps or hyperspace ramming, such as we saw with the Holdo maneuver, it requires a massive coincidence that a hyperspace corridor just happens to be lined up with the enemy ship or where they want to go. Further, it would appear that one cannot just hit the magic button and go. Hyperdrives require extensive calculations prior to engaging the hyperdrive engines, except when they don't. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I am not in any way, shape, or form claiming to have all the answers here. I am genuinely asking my hardcore Star Wars fans. I'm asking people like you, Luke. I'm asking people like Captain George. Can you clarify? Can you demonstrate exactly what are the requirements for a hyperspace jump? The bottom line is that personally, I do not see a clear edge for the Federation or the Empire when it comes to faster than light travel. It is clear that the Empire can travel much faster than the Federation when using hyperdrive, but it also appears clear that warp drive is much more precise and seems to be more utilitarian than hyperdrive. Plus, we've seen that Federation ships can engage in combat while at warp, and it would appear at least that Imperial ships are incapable of combat while in hyperspace. So, honestly, at this point, unless I can get some good information on why hyperdrive doesn't work the way that it appears to, I'm going to call the FTL advantage a draw. All right, guys. So remember, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I have a very special video lined up for you. I got a lot of work to do to get that done in time, but also don't forget, we're giving away the Doom Mask, so look forward to that. Until then, take care.